Well guys, following the new beta announcement for the PS5, we finally get to see what companies like Seagate's coming out with when it comes to PS5's new expandable storage SSDs. And while the new prices on these SSDs are smacking the hell out of our wallets, it might not be the only issue that Sony's going to run into. Today here on the video, we're going to be discussing the requirements for those SSDs, heat sinking issues you might run into, and why I honestly think you should just hold off from buying one of these SSDs. I'm your host Calcifer, and let's get started. Well guys, one of the first things I want to touch on in this video today is basically the requirements you're going to need in order to be able to pull off this expandable storage. If that's something you would like to do, if you'd like to have more SSD storage in your PS5 console, these are the requirements you're going to need. So the first thing you're going to need to do is basically download the beta, the system software beta for the PS5. That'd be the first thing you need to do. Once you have that, the next thing you need to do is make sure that you're going to buy, or make sure that you are buying, the correct SSD. There are requirements for that. I'm going to lay them out here for you. There's just a couple. So first thing is you need to go and purchase a M.2 SSD drive, okay, an M.2, and I'll have it here on the screen as well so you can see it. An M.2 SSD, you'll need to make sure that it's 5,500 megabytes a second or faster. The reason why I say that is because basically it'll be about the same speed as the SSD that's internally installed into your PS5 right now. And the third requirement for this SSD is to make sure that it fits within the slot of the PS5. So it has to be 22 millimeters by 11.25 millimeters tall. So that's 22 millimeters wide by 11.25 millimeters tall. That'll make sure that it can't be any longer than that specific length, and that'll make sure that it fits perfectly within the PS5 expandable storage slot. But I believe that Sony might have a bigger issue here, and that's that there's a rumor floating around, or some things I've heard buzzing, especially all over Twitter, is that these SSD storages might require a cooling device to keep these things from overheating. That would be something such as a heatsink, for example. If you guys don't know what a heatsink is, basically it's a device that keeps the internal temperature of something cooler so it doesn't overheat. So basically a device would go over your SSD and it would keep it cool enough so it doesn't overheat, doesn't cause any damage. What you're going to run into is people are going to put these SSDs into their PS5 without heat sinks, and these SSDs may or may not overheat. And if it was to overheat and then cause issues to your PS5 console, I don't see a situation where Sony says, hey, we're going to cover this for you because this is our fault. I don't see a situation where Sony would do that. I think this is more of a situation of they're going to say it's your fault and you're going to have to buy a new console, which I think, it may or may not play out that way, but I think the safest thing you can do as a consumer right now is to basically avoid buying SSDs. This thing is still in beta phase here, people. We do not need to go out and buy SSDs. There's no reason for you to get one and try this out. I would leave this to people like YouTubers and things like that, people that are paid to do these kind of things. Let them test it out first, see how it works, and then if it is working well and then these SSDs aren't overheating and they don't need a heat sink, then you should be fine. Or you could do what I'm doing, which is waiting for Sony to say, hey, this specific SSD doesn't need a heatsink and it's going to work fine. It's going to work fine. You won't have any issues at all. That's something that I'm going to be waiting for, and then I'll decide to upgrade. Also, right now, the prices on these SSDs are outrageous. I mean, Seagate alone announced today that their 2 terabyte SSD, I think, was somewhere around $500-600, and their 4 terabyte reached around $1,000, people. $1,000. It's insane to me. These SSDs are so expensive. So as a person, and the best thing I can recommend for you right now is just to wait it out, guys. If you really need the space that bad, just delete a few games or go buy a $80 hard drive somewhere, hook it up externally to your PS5 and transfer over games to your PS5 that you're going to want to play later. So you transfer over to the hard drive and you can pull them back from that hard drive and transfer back over to the PS5. It only takes a few minutes. That is probably the best two options you can go through right now. I do not recommend you put a SSD into your PS5 without a heatsink, just from the case that it might overheat and cause major issues. I also do not recommend that you buy an SSD right now. They're way too expensive. My honest advice for you to do is just wait. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I truly appreciate it. It means a lot that you sat through the video. If you can, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I always truly appreciate it. Remember, I do upload every single week. And also, feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought of today's video. And I'll catch you in the next one.